Hello, welcome to New Forest. It is so beautiful. It is away from the city of London that we have been touring through for a few days, and it is a land of ponies. Wild ponies and donkeys and cows live in New Forest, and everybody looks after them, and it's such a really special place. We arrived at a gorgeous cottage, and I'll show you some footage of walking through the property to this very spot that I'm sitting at here, where I today have made friends with some really beautiful dandelion spirits. I think you can see some of them hanging around me. They are amazing. The minute that we got in, even in London, the dandelions are everywhere, and they are huge, and they are so beaming and bright. And today I actually got to have some time alone to sit down with them and commune, and it's made me feel so much better. I've been feeling a little bit out of sorts, and everyone's gone off today to beautiful archaeological Celtic sites, and I decided to stay home and sit with the flowers. So I do have a little bit of feeling like I missed out on seeing some beautiful things, but also really just needed some soul time. And obviously dandelion was calling me, along with all the bluebells and daffodils and tulips that have popped up. So it's been really nourishing just to be alone and sit in the garden, enjoy the birds and the sunshine and these amazing dandelions. And I thought I would share with you a way that I connect with dandelion spirit. There are all these birds flying in the trees, I'm distracted. And so I've brought a blessing pouch with me, and this is made of some herbs that I love to connect with fairy spirits, and some amethyst and rose quartz crystals, and it brewed on my altar for a few weeks before I left for England. And this was to offer in exchange for blessings or connection or energy that I felt, or if there was any site that I visited where I just wanted to give thanks for the energies present. And so I've given an offering to dandelion spirit, and it's a simple practice of just tuning in and grounding, and then I take a little bit, I've only got 2 hands, but taking a little bit of my mixture and just placing it. I'll just place it down here in amongst the greenery with these dandelions and give thanks. So I came and sat down here and actually asked the dandelion if I could eat one of its leaves, and I hadn't done that all through London. It didn't feel right, but I got a real big yes. And the minute that these leaves are huge. I don't know if I can show you properly how big they are. So the leaves here, you can see, they are absolutely huge. They are so beautiful. There's a whole pile of different plants in here, but it was the dandelion in particular. So these gorgeous, they're single hollow stem, and then they've got these leaves which are, these are so fresh and so big, and I thought that maybe because they were so big that maybe they'd be a little bit too bitter, but they're actually, they were so healing and so magical that I just felt so grounded and connected the minute that I had some, and I just wanted to come and sit and spend more time with these beauties. There's some nettle in there as well. They're just beautiful. Oh my goodness. So I've sat with dandelion. I ate of her leaves. She really does connect. She's so grounding, and her roots are usually what grounds me the most, having the dandelion root tea. But these leaves are really something special. And over here we have these just beautiful little bluebells. Oh, they are delightful. I'm really wanting to capture some of that purple and blue hue with my watercolours. It's just amazing sitting here in this greenery. It's starting to sprinkle but it's England, so that's to be expected. It's so lovely just being. There are so many different types of birdies around. And so one of my favourite types of spell works to do is in the moment. And it wasn't taught to me and I didn't read it in a book. I just decided to follow the way the energy led. I listened and sat and followed that inspiration. And one of my favourite spell workings is to sit with the plant spirit, to ground in. And after that offering has been made, to let the plant spirit teach. And so you take the energy of that into yourself, the lessons, the magic, the energy of the plant. And then it can be used later on in spell workings. So we've taken in some of the dandelion spirit. And we'll wait and see as this holiday unfolds what she has to teach us. Hello, I'm back. It's been 22 days of travelling so far, and I find myself today 3 days away from heading back to Australia, and I'm sitting under a tree in the beautiful Bruxo Park off Herne Hill. And it's a magical fairy spot. There are oak trees everywhere and hawthorns, and some swans are having babies, and some Canadian geese are having babies, and there's just spring life everywhere. It's really precious. There's also some dandelions hanging around down here under this tree with me, and it got me thinking about my journey of dandelion along this trip. Since I last posted the video, or this first half of the video, I started eating the dandelion leaves, and since then I've tried almost every day and every new land space that we've been in to eat the dandelions, to connect to the earth energy through that plant ally at each place that we've gone to. And it got me thinking about my favourite type of spell work, and really it is that. It's about tuning into the moment and using what I have at hand and going with the flow. And sometimes I'll feel like a mad woman and I won't really know why I'm doing certain things that I'm doing until the end of it, and I look back and reflect and I go, these things lead to this, or this means this, or these symbols all start making sense. And so it's about trust, it's about going with the flow, it's about using what you have on hand, and it's about authentically connecting in to the elements, the land, spirit, ancestor, the Fae, and listening to the stories or the symbols or the messages that they're sending you, and learning what that language sounds like for you. And it's going to sound different for you than it will for me. For me, they speak to me in the energy of plants and animals, and the way the light captures colours and symbols, and they grow and expand, which keeps showing me that I'm growing and expanding. I knew before I left that I wanted to capture some of the full moon magic that was going to take place on Glastonbury tour once we got there. So I prepared a moonstone with 2 bones, which are these. They were given to me by one of my shaman teachers, and this purple and white cord, and the colours are symbolic, and it's a hemp cord. It's nice and natural and feels really soft to wear. And all I did was macrame up the moonstone, and then I left it, and I thought, I'll leave it and whatever be will be, but I knew I was going to take it with me throughout my journey and take it up the hill on full moon night and offer. My idea was that one of the bones were being offered to Glastonbury, but other than that, I just had to let go and trust in the moment. And what happened was that every sacred well that we visited over the trip and every magical place, this moonstone has been dunked into all the healing waters and travelled me across all the landscapes and all the magical fairy spaces and all the witchy goodness of the landscape. And it's been with me on my heart. And so I took her up to their tour on full moon night, and I sat, and there were some people who were a bit loud and riff-raffy, and it was really quite annoying me because I was just like, this is such a intensely magical moment to be having Beltane Eve and full moon in Glastonbury on top of the tour. Can you please shut up? And the full moon finally was peaking just a tiny bit above the clouds, and she said to me, "What are you focusing on?" And so I wove every braid of this cord. I wove in what I wanted to focus on. And I repeated it as a mantra as I braided and braided and braided and braided, and I wove and wove and wove and wove just one of the threads, one side. And then when I got to the end, I knotted it. And I knotted in as I took a knot, so they say the full moon is my noggin. And as I knotted the cord around her, I captured that Glastonbury full moon energy into the pendant. And as I wove and wove and spoke my mantra, the sound of the irritable people faded. And then suddenly these women were singing a beautiful song. I don't even know what it was, but a song to the moon. And it became peaceful. And it wasn't that those irritable people had vanished, but it was just that I wasn't focusing on them anymore. And I think that this is a very good message for me for life, and perhaps for some of you as well. What are we focusing on? If we're looking for shit, guess what we'll find? Lots of shit. But if we can go, okay, that I don't like that, but I'm going to focus on this full moon or this moment or these positive things, that crappy stuff just stopped irritating me. Because we can't, there's always going to be things that are going to irritate us about life. That's life. But our personal experience is directly affected by our attention. Nice one. Nice lesson, Moon. Thanks. After we walked back down the Glastonbury tour, we went into the Wyld Well. If you've ever been to Glastonbury, you will understand that the Wyld Well is a deeply magical spring that pops up from the ground. You're not allowed to take your camera in there, which I think is a really magical thing, so I've got no photos to share with you of this place. Anyway, I was in there, and being that it's Beltane Eve, there were people doing ritual, and there was didgeridoo and drumming and flutes and chanting, and the energy was intense. And so I braided and wove on the other side of the moonstone to capture in that sacred magic. And I poured her into the well and under the spring, and I knotted her in the water with my intention again of where I was focusing on and nodding in all of that magic. And so that was a spell, and now I've carried it further on. It's been in more sacred water sites. It's carried on more water with me. I took the bone and gifted it into the landscape in honour of ancestors and bone memory of that land. And so they are the type of spells that I love. They are spells that are not, I don't know what I'm doing basically, and that is the magic, is about following the beat of my own drum, following the inner wisdom. And there'll be times that I work with ingredients or symbols, and it won't be till later that I'll research, I wonder what that bird meant, or I wonder what that colour means, and find some books, and then it actually tunes in, and it's interesting how the symbols all line up. They just, it's cool. And I don't know if that's confirmation bias or magic, but let's call it magic, shall we? So, for now, on my dandelion journey throughout the UK, I shall leave you here. And thank you for watching. Blessed be. Stay magic, everybody. Bye.